We are now going to go over to some videos, and we have 3 in a row. And this next one is by Dr. Terje Mikael Hasle Joranger, who is the director of the Emigrant Museum in Norway. I've actually had the pleasure of working with Dr. Joranger through the 2025 Bicentennial Commemoration, is what we are calling it. And this is a commemoration that is going to take place in 2025, where we are talking about the impact of Norwegian immigration to the United States. And we're not calling it a celebration or an anniversary for very specific reasons, because as Norwegians coming to another country, taking over land that was not ours, obviously it might not be something to celebrate, right? And so, but there, we've had our impact. There's lots of Norwegians people in the Midwest area. So Dr. Joranger is going to talk a little bit about more from the museum perspective on that commemoration that's coming up.
Hello, my name is Terje Mikael Hasle Joranger, and I'm the director of the Norwegian Emigrant Museum. I'm happy to be a part of the Thor Heyerdahl International Day and to present our ideas and plans for the 2025 Bicentennial Commemoration of Norwegian Immigration to the USA. The Norwegian Emigrant Museum has launched a national initiative to commemorate the first direct migration and group migration from Norway to the United States, which took place in the summer of 1825, and which led to a large exodus from Norway, numbering about 900,000 immigrants since 1825 until present. Our objectives are threefold. First of all, to highlight an important and highly relevant part of our national history. The immigration of such a large number of individuals had a tremendous effect on Norway, of course, through a loss of the population, but also through the new ideas, capital, and a new worldview provided by return migrants who returned to Norway after a while, but also through the ties, the thousands and 10,000s of ties between individuals on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean who were connected through blood relation and through networks. Another objective is to stimulate renewed interests for migration as a bridge builder. Themes connected to migration often serve as a polarized debates in societies. So it's important to renew interest for migration in terms of building bridges between land and cultures, also between differences and similarities between people, and between the past, present, and future. Our third objective is that there will be held events both locally, nationally, and also internationally, together with organizations and institutions in the United States. We have a national committee which consists of about 50 NGOs and partners, and they consist of both organizations, various museums, national institutions, also municipalities, which are relevant in our aim of organizing this commemoration. It consists of research institutions and also transatlantic organizations and others. And I must emphasize that the 50 plus NGOs are cooperating on this matter, because it's very important for us not to create a climate where there is competition regarding these commemorations. I think it's so good that we are part of a large network of institutions, organizations, which are interested in organizing this large event. The Norwegian Immigrant Museum has a project coordinator, a project director who is working part-time, and her name is Lene Grunwald, and she has been building this. She's been helpful in planning and building our ideas for 2025 this past year. And the project coordinator is the role of the project coordinator is to be a liaison to the members of the National Committee, and to also coordinate the work of the working groups and report to the board. Also to be helpful in defining logo, visions for the commemoration, create a new website, and to communicate this information to the outside world. The coordinator should also support national and local events and activities, and have material available for the various users of this in this commemoration. If they need data on migration, statistics, etc., we will be helpful in providing that. We have applied for funding to a permanent position as project coordinator with the Ministry of Culture in Norway. We have not received funding yet. The funding so far has been provided by Anno Museum, of which the Norwegian Immigrant Museum makes part. But we are optimistic about acquiring funds in the future. That would be an important for us to in order to continue our ideas and planning. However, we have the Norwegian Emigrant Museum is part of two research projects. First one, a public sector PhD. The candidate has just started her work, and she will be working on transatlantic partnerships between the Norwegian and Norwegian American women's movement between 1880 and 1925. So here we see the transatlantic ties play an important role in her dissertation and in her work. She's just started on November 1st for a 4-year time period. Second, the Norwegian Immigrant Museum is part of a joint research team on critical race examination in terms of race and racism in teacher education, which is also a 4-year project, which I also think is an important part of cultural encounters, migration, and I really am eager to present the findings of these two research projects in 2025. In 2023, a larger network consisting of museums, the National Library of Norway, and also 4 universities are planning to apply for the Norwegian Research Council for a program on welfare, cultural, and society, which will be a wider network of researchers that will work on various effects and themes relating to migration, immigration and emigration from Norway. We will here see an overview of our project planning for 2025. 2021 marks the initial phase of our work, and it involves the creation of a national committee, the definition of the coordinator role, vision and focus of the commemoration, and also to communicate this and to create a good platform for communication between the actors, between the network in the national committee and the public, and also to initiate research in the field. The time period 2022 to 24 includes preparations for the 2025 commemoration, which includes planning to initiate project or to enter project, be a part of projects that are relevant to the commemoration, the production of material, and also to create good ties of communication between the participants, between our network and also the public at large, and to continue our research on themes connected to the migration movement from Norway and abroad. The 2025 commemoration will include national and local activities, the opening of an exhibition, a permanent exhibit at the Norwegian Emigrant Museum on global migration from Norway. We will present findings in terms of research that has been done the years leading up to 2025. And we also wish to initiate debates in the field. Follow-up year of 2026 includes the maintenance of focus on the theme. 2025 should not be the end year of our focus on migration, but it should be ongoing. We wish that the commemoration in 2025 should be an ongoing theme in society. We will continue to present new research and to communicate our work with the public, and also to continue to create debates regarding new findings and in relation to the theme itself. The 2025 commemoration makes part of a larger jubilee, a national jubilee of 2030, which is the millennial commemoration of Saint Olaf or Olaf Haraldsson's death at the Battle of Stiklestad in 2030. He was the King of Norway, and his death had a significant impact on Norwegian society after his death, both in terms of both politically, religiously, culturally, and also in terms of legislation. So a number of national commemorations or jubilees will take place from 2021 until 2030, leading up to that large national jubilee, headed by the Stiklestad National Cultural Center. They are heading a steering group planning a nationwide inclusive and contemporary celebration, and posing the question, what are the pillars of the Norwegian society of today and for the next 1,000 years? And the celebration aims for various encounters, debates, meetings, and also regarding Norway's values. And the 2025 commemoration is a part of this national celebration. The main themes of our 2025 commemoration is first to highlight our migration history of the past 200 years. There are still a number of Norwegians who are in touch with their American relatives, although immigration to the United States did cease some decades after World War II. But the immigration from Norway was a tremendous migration, flow of people who traveled across the Atlantic and created new societies, new communities in the United States. And it had a large effect on US society, but also on Norwegian society, in the fact that many of these immigrants came back after 1880. They brought with them new ideas, a new worldview, and also capital to build Norway. So, in fact, these immigrants were nation builders on two continents. We wish to enter new perspectives and told stories and new target groups. We also wish to create a tie between the past and present migration, and to introduce that Norway has gone from being a net immigrant country to a net immigrant country. It's about ethnic identity and adaptation. And the third theme is to build stronger ties with current and future Norwegian diaspora. We'll take a look at these three themes here. First, to highlight Norway's immigrant history. Immigration is fascinating because it's made up of individual stories. And all these individual stories make up these large immigration movements. So it's important to try to grasp some of these stories and to present them to the larger public. But also, it's important to present new perspectives on migration history, perspectives that have hitherto not been presented. We wish to include the migration to several continents. The United States is central, but also to show that migration from Norway also had various directions to several continents, not only to the North American continent. Wish to include recent immigration or recent migration streams from Norway, the effects on return migration on Norwegian society, as previously mentioned, and how various forms of freedom can be connected to migration, both in terms of religion, politics, and in developing increased welfare. But also the more negative aspects of migration is important to include here. I mean, the themes that have been silenced and also negative effects tied to the migration process. For instance, what happened to the Native Americans who ceded their land to Norwegian immigrants who prospered on farms previously inhabited and used by, cultivated by Native Americans. The Native Americans were forcibly and moved from their hunting grounds, and also through the signing of treaties, which gave a white European population the chance to enter U.S. society in a serious efforts by U.S. Authorities to create worldwide white settlement from coast to coast on the North American continent. We also wish to create a tie between past and present migration, and to create an interest for migration and identity across borders. It's important that our knowledge about Norwegian emigration to the United States can create an understanding of processes connected to contemporary immigration to Norway. And among others, how the negotiation between the immigrant and a host country, host society, is developing in retaining an ethnic identity or adapting to the values of the new country, of the immigrant's new country. Which are the consequences for children and youth? This is an studied theme. What are the consequences in terms of gender, religion, and ethnicity of immigrants? And we also need to study the creation of hierarchies in terms of privilege, and also racism, and the concept of whiteness. I will explain whiteness here. The whiteness is a construct, a social construct, but it pertains to privileges given to a certain population in as compared to other groups in the population. For instance, Norwegian immigrants to the United States, they were white, they were Protestant, they were held in high esteem by the Anglo-American population in the United States, which were the guardians of the Constitution, and which were on top of a racial hierarchy, where Norwegians were very high up on this hierarchy, but were colored Asians, African Americans, Native Americans were toward the bottom of this hierarchy. And the fact that Norwegians were wanted as immigrants, as white immigrants, and they also enjoyed the privilege of becoming citizens, natural citizens of the United States. They had a right to vote. Of course, men in general, women did not. There was not universal suffrage for women until 1920. But women had the right to buy land, and married women and widows had the right to buy land, and along with men, and Norwegian men and women, and other Nordic groups were also regarded as good citizens. So this whiteness, this privilege, also has been a part of the entrance of Norwegian immigrants to the American middle class, successful adaptation to US society. But it's also important to look at how whiteness and hierarchies are working in Norwegian society in terms of immigrants here. More recent immigration. To build strong ties with current and future Norwegian diaspora, to find out who are the migrants from Norway today and which challenges do they meet. We wish to acquire more knowledge about this group as representatives of Norway's future storytelling. How immigrants now, at present and future, could be relevant to Norwegian society, and how we can strengthen their ties to the home country is also something that we need to take a look at. And to find some perspectives on future Norwegian diaspora policy. In Denmark, the authorities have built a professional network of expatriates from Denmark with support from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, export organizations, businesses and diaspora organizations. And several hundred Danish expats have said that they're willing to assist Danish businesses with opening doors and to give advice. So this is also something that we can take a look at. I now wish to end my presentation. Thank you for listening. I hope that the presentation has been a relevant part of this International Thor-Heyerdahl Day, and thank you.
So I just want to thank Dr. Joranger for his presentation. I know it's a little different format when it is on a video.